Don't want to regret dropping tons of money on a Disney World hotel only to end up hating it? Then stick around because we're talking about the worst Disney World hotels for next year today on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Deciding which Disney World resort is going to be the best resort for you and your family is one of the most important decisions you can make for your upcoming trip. But just like a choose your own adventure book can lead you to a dead end, not every Disney hotel choice is going to be the right answer for you. Not to worry though, you're going to know the right answers after today, because along with the worst resorts of 2023, we're also going to throw in some solid alternatives to help you make your decision easier, meaning you can be confident about clicking the Proceed to Checkout button on the Disney World website. Want the right hotel answers with you at all times? We got a PDF of the best hotel rooms for your 2023 trip. That's right, hotel rooms. All typed up, ready to send your way. All you got to do is drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/besthotels. We'll get that list sent to your inbox for free in a jiffy. Time to start resort hopping. First up on the list, hotels that are experiencing more than just a facelift. Disney World is constantly up to some sort of project on property, and next year, 2 major hotels will be undergoing huge renovations. This can be frustrating for you as a guest because it's loud. There's sometimes areas of the hotels that are blocked off. You can't access them. Sometimes food locations go under the knife, so to speak, so you have fewer of those to access. So there are a lot of things that can be annoying about staying at a Disney World hotel that is under serious construction. First up, we're going to talk about Disney's Boardwalk Inn, which is about to look extremely different from its old Coney Island self. Boardwalk Inn started its changes this year by shutting down the Boardwalk Bakery and replacing it with the Boardwalk Deli quick service, where guests can order deli sandwiches, various breads, and pastries galore. ESPN Club was also closed earlier this year to make way for the new table service restaurant, the Cake Bake Shop by Gwendolyn Rogers, which will feature options on its menu like truffle pommes frites, quiche, sandwiches, and of course tons of cakes, pies, and other treats to satisfy your sweet tooth, other than your average Mickey Premium bar. So what's this restaurant going to be like? Well, we actually interviewed Gwendolyn Rogers earlier this year, and this is what she had to say about what we should expect that first step into the dining room to feel like. She says, our shops bring back those old memories of storefront windows and what it was like to be in a place before technology, before cell phones were there. You actually spend time with your family and friends and enjoy a meal at the family table. What Cake Bake does is it brings a little bit of that back. If you want to read the whole Gwendolyn Rogers interview about what the Cake Bake Shop is going to be like, I'll link it down in the description below. Along with the restaurant changes, Boardwalk Inn will also be getting renovations in the lobby, a new lounge, remodeled guest rooms, and a coffee bar. And you know what? Good for Boardwalk Inn. By the end of all the refurbs, it should be looking all nice and spiffy, although we have seen the beginning of it over at the Bellevue Lounge, and it looks really sleek and modern, which is kind of the opposite of what you expect from Boardwalk Inn. So just a heads up, I don't know if you're gonna love the outcome, but it should be definitely different. Now, this level of construction, because there is a lot happening, means you might hear some major clinks and clatters during the middle of the day when you're wanting a little cat nap, or your kids want a cat nap. It also means that when the lobby's starting to get some work done, you might not get that grand immersive reveal like you expect when you first step foot in a Disney hotel that you paid tons of money for. And like I said before, areas of the resort could be blocked off, they could be updating and changing pools. You never really know what your experience is going to be like until you get there because you don't know the schedule of the construction. So overall, we will usually recommend just skipping a hotel under construction entirely because, again, you never really know what your experience is going to be and if it's going to be worth those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars per night that you're spending to stay there. Another Disney hotel that's starting to go through more major changes is Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. They are always working on her. Between 2021 and now, we've had a new Polynesian entrance update, including that port cochere, lobby updates with new glass floating chandeliers, bamboo elements, and a refreshed coat of paint where needed. Rooms were updated with a Moana theme and given new furniture, wallpaper, lighting, and flooring. And now a new DVC, Disney Vacation Club building, is currently being constructed. This building will not only bring Disney World more Disney Vacation Resort villas to choose from, but will also house new recreation offerings and additional dining options. Since this is a gigantic project, construction won't wrap up here until late 2024, which gives you an entire year of having to pardon the resort's pixie dust as they continue to bulldoze and build right up by 7th Seven Seas Lagoon, in the area where the Spirit of Aloha dinner show used to reside. Although no major changes will be happening directly inside the resort itself, you still won't be able to freely walk around that area of the resort like you used to. The whole tropical immersion kind of gets disrupted when construction walls are popping up everywhere. If a little extra construction here and there doesn't bother you so much, then feel free to book a room if you're not wanting to diverge from your original boardwalk or Polynesian plans. In the past, we've even seen resort stays slightly discounted when in the midst of major construction, since it'll be your last chance to stay in one of the older style rooms. Not saying that's a guarantee, but hey, worth looking into. And if you want a couple of solid deluxe resort alternatives that won't be experiencing heavy-duty construction in 2023, here are some solutions. Instead of Boardwalk Inn, try Disney's Yacht and Beach Club. These two resorts still connect to the boardwalk and are part of the Epcot area hotels. They also have very similar theming vibes. And you can still walk right into Epcot's International Gateway or walk right over to Disney's Hollywood Studios. These resorts also feature some of our favorite restaurants like Beaches and Cream on the Beach Club side, Yachtsman Steakhouse on the Yacht Club side, and they have easy access to the Disney Skyliner to transport you to other resorts and Hollywood Studios. And instead of Polynesian Village Resort, you might want to try Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. Though the Grand is still undergoing one more renovation at its upscale yet casual seafood restaurant Narcoossee's, which is set to open in 2023 with an enhanced experience, and a few of the hotel buildings are being renovated. Most of the updates took place this year, and you will not be staying in the buildings where renovations are happening. One of those major updates that's happening is switching over all the rooms to Mary Poppins theming throughout. Now, if you do book Grand Floridian Resort, you may be put into one of these brand new Mary Poppins rooms, and if you do, make sure you look at the chandelier. I love it because there are a bunch of crystal birds and one penguin. This next set of the worst hotels for 2023 is along the same lines as the construction hotels, and that's the hotels with the closed pools. Even though Disney's resort pools are heated to a comfy 82 degrees all year round, Disney still uses the winter season to get some of their pool refurbs done, and that means a handful of hotels will be pool-less throughout the beginning of the year. In 2023, the Feature Pool and Whirlpool Spa at Disney's Contemporary Resort and the Meadow Swimming Pool and Whirlpool Spa at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground will be closed from January 9th to early April 2023. So that's going to take you right through some folks' spring breaks and right up to Easter. While these resorts should still have their quiet pools open as an alternative swimming solution, those quiet pools aren't going to have any over-the-top theming or water slides or splash pads like the main feature pools have, and they also will have to absorb all of the people from the hotel, which, even when they had multiple pools to spread out to, could get a little crowded. So if you still want to stay in a hotel with an open feature pool during your early 2023 trip, here are a few of our favorite options that will still be available. Stormalong Bay at Disney's Yacht and Beach Club will still be open and provide guests with basically a water park experience within walking distance from their room. The Big Blue Pool at Disney's Art of Animation Resort, which is the largest feature pool through the Disney World resorts, will let guests just keep swimming throughout the winter and spring season. And Doubloon Lagoon at Port Orleans French Quarter will not only still be around, but will also give you major Mardi Gras vibes, which is perfect if you're going to be celebrating Mardi Gras in Disney World at the end of February. Now, before you make assumptions about particular hotels, listen to this. Just because all of these hotels are located within a few miles of each other doesn't mean they're all going to offer up the same exact things, and that goes for the Good Neighbor hotels too. Good Neighbor hotels partner with Disney to give guests similar Disney World Resort benefits at a potentially cheaper price. But not all Good Neighbor hotels are created equal. Take the early theme park entry benefit, for example. Any guest staying at a Disney-owned resort will be able to use the early theme park entry benefit, meaning you can enter any of the parks on any day 30 minutes before the parks officially open. Heads up though, you will need a park pass reservation for wherever you're going. And although some Good Neighbor hotels offer this same benefit, there are twice as many Good Neighbor hotels that don't. So if you want to save money by staying at a Good Neighbor, but you also want that sweet early entry privilege, then you're going to want to look into staying at one of the following places: Signia by Hilton Orlando Bonnet Creek, Waldorf Astoria Orlando, B Resort and Spa Lake Buena Vista, Doubletree Suites by Hilton Orlando Buena Vista Palace or Lake Buena Vista, Holiday Inn Orlando, Wyndham Garden Lake Buena Vista, Wyndham Lake Buena Vista, the Disney World Swan and Dolphin Resorts, Swan Reserve, and Four Seasons Resort Orlando. If the Good Neighbor hotel you've been eyeballing isn't listed here, then there's a good chance it doesn't have the early theme park entry. So double check the hotel's website so you know exactly what kinds of theme park perks it's going to give you. Also, as an extra word of warning towards Good Neighbor hotels, the shuttle services here can be a pain. That means the bus services to and from the parks. Each hotel's theme park bus service works a little bit differently, but no matter which Good Neighbor bus you're planning on using, you're still going to have to walk all the way to the end of the bus stop area to track down your ride. Or in Magic Kingdom's case, you're going to have to take a monorail or ferry over to the Transportation and Ticket Center to find your bus, since it won't be up front with the other Disney Resort buses. But what if you're wanting that extended evening hours benefit where you can stay in the parks on select nights up to 2 hours after they close to everybody else? Well, unless you're staying at a Disney Deluxe resort, these benefits won't be available to you. However, there is one set of hotels that are the exception to these rules, and that's Shades of Green plus Walt Disney World's Swan and Dolphin and the Swan Reserve. The Swan and Dolphin hotels are owned by Marriott and partner with Disney to not just provide similar Disney resort benefits, but to give guests deluxe resort benefits with a more moderate price point. You'll also be within walking distance to 2 of the 4 parks, Hollywood Studios and Epcot. Yep, these hotels are right over there with the Boardwalk Inn and the Yacht and Beach Club. That being said, getting a bus to and from Magic Kingdom and Disney's Animal Kingdom can still be tough, so plan in the extra travel time to those parks if you're staying at a Swan or Dolphin hotel room. It's not just Good Neighbor hotels that have transportation options that aren't exactly our favorite, though, by any means. Some Disney-owned resorts can be guilty of this too, for different reasons. So next on our list of the worst hotels for 2023 are those hotels with fewer complimentary transportation options. We're pretty spoiled by the different modes of transportation around Disney World property: monorail, Skyliner, boats. Not only do these offerings get us from point A to point B quickly, but they also become part of the whole Disney experience and culture. So when a resort doesn't offer up multiple means of transportation and just has us rely on the Disney buses to get us to every single place we want to go, not only is it kind of blah, but it also can be slow. Take Disney's Coronado Springs Resort, for instance. Coronado Springs has a lot of great offerings available. It's got great restaurants, bougie Grandestino Tower rooms. It's got sangria making classes, but it also only has a bus system. Not only that, it's got an internal bus loop, meaning the buses make multiple stops around the entire expansive resort before finally heading out to where you're wanting to go. The other moderate resorts, Caribbean Beach and Port Orleans Riverside and French Quarter, aren't exactly superior when it comes to transportation offerings, but they do have a leg up on Coronado Springs. Caribbean Beach has an internal bus loop as well, an even bigger one than Coronado's, but it also has the Disney Skyliner at your disposal, so you can still get to Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios pretty quickly, depending on if your room is close to one of the Skyliner hubs or not. Port Orleans Resort's sole mode of transportation to the parks is indeed the shuttles, but French Quarter does not have a bus loop like the other moderate hotels have. Yay! Port Orleans Riverside still does have a bus loop with 4 stops total, since it's a lot bigger than French Quarter, but French Quarter's lone bus stop is just right outside the lobby. The Port Orleans resorts also have a Sassagoula River cruise ferry boat service that'll take you directly to the Disney Springs shopping district. It's not a super speedy means of getting to Disney Springs or anything, but it is a relaxing and fun ride that you should totally try if you're not in a rush to make it to a reservation on time. The All-Star Value Resorts, All-Star Movies, Music, and Sports, might not have to worry about any internal bus loops, but they do only have bus systems for you to use, and these buses can get even busier than the other resort buses at the start and end of each day, since many of the guests staying at the value resorts will prioritize the parks and want to get over to them as early as possible and stay in them for as long as possible. Disney's Art of Animation and Disney's Pop Century Resort, however, have buses and direct access to the Skyliner, so if you're wanting to save a little money on your resort stay and you also want more transportation options for at least 2 of the parks, Art of Animation and Pop may check off all the boxes for you. But hold on, it's not just the value resorts and moderate resorts that might have super limited transportation options. We absolutely adore the different offerings at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, but that doesn't get rid of the fact that this resort is only close to Disney's Animal Kingdom Park, but you're not close enough to walk, and this hotel only has a bus system. Since the Animal Kingdom area is a pretty good distance from the Magic Kingdom area, you may have to factor in 30 minutes or more of travel time into your day, not including how long you'll need to wait for a bus in the first place. If you're wanting a deluxe resort stay near Magic Kingdom, consider staying at one of the monorail resorts instead. Yes, they're outrageously expensive, but hey, we're talking about transportation in this section. Disney's Contemporary Resort, Polynesian Village Resort, and Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. These resorts will have the monorail, which can also take you over to Epcot if you transfer monorails at the Transportation and Ticket Center, but they're also within walking distance to the Magic Kingdom, meaning you can skip the crowds entirely. That is, if your feet can handle the extra steps at the end of a park day. That walk over to the Polynesian is pretty long. Disney's Wilderness Lodge and Disney's Fort Wilderness cabins and campgrounds are not within walking distance to Magic Kingdom, nor do they have monorail access, but they do have boat rides over to the park, and they're going to be a cheaper stay than you'll find at any of the monorail resorts. And speaking of a cheaper stay, let's talk about hotels that make you spend more money than necessary. As much fun as staying in a Disney Deluxe resort sounds, they are not cheap. For a standard room, you're looking at paying well above $500 per night for any of them. And although you'll only gain access to the extended evening hours through a deluxe resort stay, there are other deluxe resort perks that you'll actually be able to find at other moderate or even value Disney hotels. Need a family suite because you've got a bigger group or you're just wanting that extra wiggle room? Look toward the value resorts first. Disney's Art of Animation has family suites with Disney animated movie theming like The Lion King, Finding Nemo, and Pixar's Cars. Most of the time, these suites will still be cheaper than what you're going to find at the deluxe resorts, but that doesn't mean they can't still get up there in price, which is why I'd recommend turning toward the cheapest family suite option of the bunch at Disney's All-Star Music. This has family suites that range in price between $300 and $580 per night, and we actually prefer these suites to Art of Animations, to be honest, especially after All-Star Music remodeled their rooms and made them look a lot more chic. The All-Star Music Suites also have a kitchen area with plenty of shelves, storage, and a full-sized fridge, while the Art of Animation Suites only have kitchenettes with a mini fridge and lots less counter space and storage. We've got an entire All-Star Music Family Suite tour on the DFB website, so I'll go ahead and link it down in the description below if you want to see it to believe it. But what if you want to feel like you've got VIP status without paying the celebrity prices? I'm talking about booking a club-level room, which will give you exclusive access to the resort's club-level lounge, as well as direct concierge services. In every case but one, you're only going to find these kind of perks at a deluxe resort. However, if you turn toward Coronado Springs' Gran Destino Tower, you can find the exact same type of offering for a moderate price point. It is a huge bargain. The Kronos Club at Gran Destino Tower offers up 5 different complimentary food and beverage offerings for club-level guests between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. You got the coffee station, available all day long, continental breakfast served until 11 a.m., light snacks stocked throughout the afternoon, hors d'oeuvres and select beverages between 5 and 7 p.m., and desserts and cordials served between 8 and 10 p.m. In conclusion, you don't necessarily have to pay premium prices to get premium treatment. But what happens if you book a Disney resort only to find one of your favorite parts about said resort is closed during your stay? Now, we talked about pools. It's time to talk about the Skyliner. You know how I just talked about Disney transportation being a big part of some guests' trips? Well, it could be an awfully sad discovery to book a room at a resort on the Skyliner route and be excited to use the Skyliner, only to find out that it's closed, and not just for a temporary storm delay, which does happen all the time. The Skyliner will be closed for refurbishments between January 22nd and January 29th. Sure, not a long closure, but if that short span of time just so happens to fall within the time frame of your trip, then you're not going to be able to use this nifty benefit when you stay at one of the Skyliner resorts. And to be fair, a lot of those resorts, this is the only reason to stay there. If you're at the Yacht and Beach Club, Boardwalk Inn, or Swan and Dolphin, you'll still be within walking distance to both Disney's Hollywood Studios and Epcot, and of course there's boats that go there as well. And if your heart's still set on one of those Skyliner resorts, gondolas running or not, you'll still be able to use the complimentary bus services. You may also want to look into using rideshare apps like Lyft or Uber to give you a private but faster ride to where you need to go. You'll just have to budget for these ahead of time, since many rideshare rides around Disney World property are between $10 and $15 per ride. But our recommendation? Don't stay at a Skyliner resort that week, or just change your dates. Sometimes the worst Disney World hotel for you can be the best fit for others. So let's talk about those hotels that are going to clash with your vibe. Disney World resorts come in all shapes and sizes and themes, but not every vibe is going to be the one you're looking for. So let's do a little crash course for what resorts you're not going to want to book versus which ones you will, depending on your reason for visiting and who you're traveling with. If you're going to Disney for an anniversary, a honeymoon, or vow renewal, You're probably not going to want to crash at an all-star resort. Now, I know a lot of you did that. I know you're going to leave me a comment. You're going to say, AJ, we stayed at the All-Stars for our honeymoon. It was great, and I'm sure that it was. But for some honeymooners who are looking for something more romantic, then the oversized foosball table, the hauntingly horrifying Jack-in-the-Box, or the Three Caballeros figures at the Calypso pool probably isn't going to provide any Hallmark-worthy moments necessarily. If you were looking at these value resorts hoping to save a bit of money on your romantic stay, you can always aim to book a room over at the moderate resorts instead, like Grand Destino Tower or Port Orleans Resort Riverside. It's still a little bit of a splurge, but not as big of a splurge as the deluxe resorts, and you'll get a nice, classy room with more peaceful vibes and more dining options. If you book with Grand Destino, you'll have direct access to several nice drink and dining spots, as well as a gorgeous overlook of the resort from those tower and water view rooms, and potentially even fireworks views. And you can add a little pizzazz to your stay at Riverside when you book one of the royal guest rooms, which are decked out with Disney princess embellishments and LED fireworks that sparkle across the headboards. If you're wanting a hotel that your kids are going to love from the get-go, you're probably going to want to avoid those resorts that don't have an overwhelming abundance of Disney character elements. In this case, Grand Destino wouldn't be a good fit for your group since its modernized look, inspired by Salvador Dali, is totally not going to be their vibe. Grand Floridian might also not work for your group, though there are definitely Disney elements here that your kids will love. This resort can feel rather stuffy and very sophisticated sometimes, which can make them feel uncomfortable. So this is where the all-star resorts and their wacky, wonderful cast of characters can be a big selling point. Kids will love the oversized decor at these locations and the other value resort locations like Pop and Art of Animation. All right, one more, and I'll give you a tricky one. Let's say you're traveling with someone or someones who are really not Disney's #1 fan and would prefer to have a lot of distance between themselves and all the action when they're not directly in the parks. Once again, the value resorts and their loud and proud character decor probably aren't going to win your group any points. I'd also argue that any hotels with super close proximity to the parks could be a little much at times and not give your group enough of that Disney escape that they may be looking for. Instead, you may want to check out one of the Disney Vacation Club resorts, like the beachy Old Key West or the equestrian-driven Saratoga Springs. They can feel a little more out of the way and have all-around calmer vibes. Or you can head to Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge and spend your time not only dining at amazing restaurants like Boma and Sanaa, but also plopping down in a rocking chair and watching the animals roam the resort's private savannah. You can also take it a step further and go on a starlight safari directly in the resort's savannah once the sun sets. You'll just have to book your reservations on the My Disney Experience app ahead of time. And even though Disney's Fort Wilderness is only a short boat ride away from the Magic Kingdom, you'll still be surrounded by lots of trees and nature, because they don't call this area Fort Wilderness for nothing. This setting feels very private and gives you a whole lot of access to different outdoorsy activities that you can fill your day with, like archery, Segway tours, kayak and canoe rentals, and so many other recreational things that force you to become one with nature. And don't forget, even if you're visiting a park or two at Disney, it does not mean you have to stay on Disney World grounds, period. You can still book a hotel or Airbnb outside the Disney bubble if that'll fit your group's particular needs better. Now, this next one is along the same lines as the last one. The vibe just isn't working. We're going to talk about hotels with tiny rooms. The I'm not touching you game gets real old in a hotel room, but in some Disney World rooms, you almost can't help but be all up in everyone's business at all times. One of the tiniest, most expensive rooms you can book is a Tower Studio room at Disney's Riviera Resort. A Tower Studio room can sleep up to 2 adults. This room is so small, in fact, that if you want to hit the hay, you'll have to pull down the bed from the wall and over the couch. Yep, can't have a couch and a bed, gotta have one or the other. With a room so small, like 220 square feet small, it's nice to have an option where you can fold the bed back up into the wall to free up some space, but it is kind of silly to think you can't have a couch and a bed exist in the same room. It's not like you get 2 beds, just the one bed. It's like Harry Potter and Voldemort, like neither can live while the other survives, just very much less dramatic. It's also silly to think you'll be paying $350 to $600 per night here, when a full cabin at Fort Wilderness that sleeps up to 6 adults and includes a bedroom, a living room, full bathroom, spacious private patio, full kitchen, starts at $398 per night. If you're really set on staying at Riviera for your next trip because you're all about the European travel vibes going on over there, don't worry, there are still several other rooms that you can choose from that are more spacious, like the deluxe studios or the 1 to 3 bedroom villas. But if you thought the price range for the tower studio was steep enough, then you're not gonna like the major price tags for these bigger Riviera rooms. Just saying. But let's backtrack, because I want to talk a little bit more about those beds that fold up into the walls, the Murphy beds. Murphy beds are not just available at the Riviera, they are becoming extremely prevalent in Disney World Resort rooms. You can find them in the rooms over at Disney's All-Star Music and Movies, Pop Century as well. The second queen-size bed is actually a Murphy bed now in the Pop Century rooms. Those new Caribbean beach resort rooms that are Little Mermaid themed, those are going to have a Murphy bed be the second queen-size bed as well. So why am I pointing out these hotels specifically? Well, because the standard rooms available here can be rather close quarters. The addition of the Murphy beds transforms your limited space into something roomier. You can fold your bed up into the wall and reveal a little table that'll give your group a place to dine inside the room or play a card game or two before bed. But the standard rooms at Disney's Art of Animation and All-Star Sports aren't so lucky yet. Inside, their beds remain planted firmly on the ground, making things rather cramped when you're snacking, playing Go Fish, or just trying to get your shoes on without someone bumping into you every few seconds. Even though these rooms say they can house a family of 4, that doesn't mean they do so comfortably, at least not for a whole week. So let's talk solutions, because we're all about solutions here on DFB Guide. I already name-dropped Disney World's family suites earlier on, and I still recommend those for anyone wanting to stay on Disney property and have not only a separate living room, bedroom area, but also 2 separate bathrooms. But let's talk about other spacious options that could potentially save you more money. Several Good Neighbor hotels have family suites available for you to book too. Let's look at Caribe Royale, for instance. If you book a Caribe Queen Suite, which sleeps up to 5 guests and has a separate bedroom and living room area, you're looking at a price that typically stays within the $250 per night range, depending on when you visit. The main downside of this particular suite is that you don't have the multiple bathroom option, which is still my major selling point for sure. But that's why you're going to want to do your own research when it comes to the Good Neighbor hotels, to learn more about the different rooms and offerings and potentially spacious offerings at that. Just head to www.goodneighborhotels.com. All right, say it with me. Nobody's perfect, and that includes the following Disney World hotels. It's time to get into a few specific downfalls of our resorts here. Each Disney World resort has its faults, but some tend to blindside us a little more than others and become a big factor as to why you may not want to stay at them again. So let's look at a few different resort downfalls that you may not have realized were a thing, but they totally are. At Disney's Caribbean Beach, you're not going to find any elevators. So if you have a room above ground level, you will have to take the stairs no matter what. Got a double stroller? Take the stairs. In a wheelchair? Gotta take the stairs. So you may want to put a room request during your online check-in and ask for a room on the first floor if it's going to be a major concern for you. That way, Disney can do their best to accommodate. At Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort, you're out in the boonies, my friend. Whether you want to go to a park, Disney Springs, or even the other side of the resort itself, it's going to be quite the trek to get anywhere and everywhere. The bus system there feels like Manhattan. Fort Wilderness does rent out golf carts to help guests get around the grounds easier, which are available at the reception outpost and cost around $63 to $79 per day. By the way, you should book those in advance so they don't run out. At Disney's Pop Century Resort, things are gonna get busy, like real busy. This value resort has 3,000 rooms available for guests, so if you're wanting a more quiet stay while you're there, you'll want to request one of the buildings that's away from the action, like the 80s or 90s buildings. The only problem with requesting a room further away, though, is that, well, you're going to be further away from everything, meaning you'll have to walk quite a ways to get to the bus stops, Everything Pop food court, the Hippy Dippy pool, and the Skyliner. And at Disney's Port Orleans French Quarter, you're going to have some great food options. You may even consider them amazing because those beignets at Scat Cat's Club and Lounge, they are fantastic, but you're not going to find any table service restaurants here. Just lounge bites and food court chow over at Sassagoula Floatworks and Food Factory. Good thing you got the riverboats handy, right? Though there won't be any table service restaurants mere steps away from your hotel room, you will be able to take a riverboat to Port Orleans Riverside to eat at Boat Rights, or you can go the opposite direction and have several different offerings at your disposal at Disney Springs. Alright, so am I saying that any of these particular resorts are bad? Of course not. There are lots of these resorts that I personally prefer over others because of what I'm personally looking for. But that doesn't mean you won't feel differently than I do. The important thing is to remember what you want to prioritize during your 2023 vacation. The whole point of this video is to let you know the downfalls and the pitfalls of some of these Disney hotels. So if they go against what you want to prioritize, you don't have to stay there. And you can avoid booking a Disney World hotel that isn't going to be able to fulfill your requests. And remember, as you're going off to do your own research and figure out which hotel is going to suit you best, by the way, we have so many DFB videos out here that go in depth with resort reviews covering rooms, dining, amenities, prices, if it's worth it for you to stay there. Basically all the things you're going to want to know before you hit that purchase button. And we got lots of full room tours featured on our DFB website as well. But if you want more news and updates about what's happening with the hotels in 2023, be sure to join our DFB newsletter and get immediate updates on the latest Disney 411. In fact, signing up for our newsletter might be easier than you think. Remember how I told you to drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/besthotels at the beginning of this video to receive that list of 2023 awesome rooms at Disney World? Along with that free PDF, sending us your email will get you set up with our free newsletter too, because the more we can help you out, the better we feel about your future travels. So thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.